What is happening out there, my friends in YouTube land? This is yours truly, Rockin' Dave, the real deal, North Fort Myers, Southwest Florida. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning into the Guitar Channel by actively live gigging guitarists, yes, even in COVID. And we have Music Theory Labs. What is happening, brother Sean? Sean Aaron, what's happening? I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I just wanted to do a little testing here because I put my wife and I, actually my wife, she knows how to do this, put more of a security thing on my phone, and let's see if we can take care of some of the problems with the buffering and all this, that, and the other. But I am plugged into my Gibson Les Paul, into the Fender Hot Rod Deluxe, the George Benson signature model. I'm running the Blue Paisley overdrive pedal right into it. And Buck Lester, what's happening? Good to see you, my friend. Yeah, God rest ye merry gentlemen. It's been a year since I played it, so I played it at Christmas. So when I'm getting ready to do shows, obviously I just buckle down and just bam, zoom in on it. When I improvise, I just kind of go over it. Especially when I'm doing some of these live streams, because it's not really per se about doing the show performance. People know I can play. When I have a very specific topic I want to talk about, that takes precedence over the playing. Yeah, sounds like, it takes, Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Yeah, definitely. We sent material to audition for them back in 2006, was it? No, actually it was 2005. Yeah, it was 2005, because that's also when we went down to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, and where we met Michael Anthony from Van Halen. I got a picture on the wall back here with me and Michael standing next to each other, and we were playing poolside. I was playing poolside, and my friend said that he was there, and I, how people talk, but yeah, he really was, and he knew about TSO, but some of my friends never heard of him. That's what happens, and that's before they got real popular too. But that's what happens when you got friends that just listen to pop music. You know what I mean? And they're all great friends. Nothing wrong with it. So, anyways, on the topic here with the Gibson. Okay, so these pickups are the Burstbucker Pros. They do the coil splitting. So you get the... and you get the out of phase. A lot of people that do know about this, you know, this is nothing new. Let's see if I can do under the clean channel. Yeah, so here it is, clean channel. There's a combination of both pickups. Here is both pickups and coil tap. And here is the out of phase. Now when you combine all these different sounds, obviously you're going to get different. We got the neck, both neck and bridge pickup. The neck pickup's coil tap, the bridge pickup isn't. Now if I roll down my bridge pickup, keep rolling down, you're going to hear more of this coil tap. And there's all kind of little tricks we used to do. For certain tones, we would also roll down a little bit of the tone and a little bit of the bridge volume down a little bit and neck tone down a little bit. You really notice it when you got the overdrive on. If you don't want it to be a little bit too piercing on the highs, then, you know, that's where I normally do that. But what I really wanted to talk about, of course, there's your bridge pickup. There's your neck pickup. Here's neck pickup and coil tap. Non-coil tap. Here's bridge pickup. Non-coil tap. Here it is in coil tap. You definitely get a difference. Yeah. But that's not so much what I wanted to talk about. What I wanted to talk about is how many guitars or pieces of gear that you own that's actually made in USA. Now, I started thinking about this. I got, you know, the Gibson here, the Spotlight guitar right there, that was made in USA. The Camelot guitar, which I don't really use it too much, but it's a great guitar. It's custom made, and that was made down here in Florida. I've got that in 2002. Let's see, my older DOD effect pedals are American made. My old Crybaby wah pedal, not Jim Dunlop. I got when it was made in Chicago, Thomas International. So that was USA made in my PV banded trans tube model. The first trans tube model that came out. Got it in 1996. I had to wait for it to be shipped to the music store. And, well, that's USA made. And, you know, it's kind of sad that when you go to the store, you don't see that much American-made products anymore. And I started thinking about this. I thought, well, you know, I remember Schwinn bicycles. Yeah, I got one, an American Strat. Okay. Even my Fender Strat is made in Mexico, which it's a great guitar. The Fender Hot Rod Deluxe here, this George Benson signature model, it's made in Mexico. It's a great amp. And, you know, the stuff that I do have, that like the Epiphone Les Paul, I've got a white Epiphone Les Paul Studio. That's made in China. And it's a great guitar, don't get me wrong. The BC Rich Warlock here, this is made in Korea. Both the Ibanez Electrics, they're made in Indonesia. I think the Laguna is also made in Indonesia. So I'm not really knocking that. And the craftsmanship is like flawless, you know. But there is one thing I do have to say about with Gibson, and a lot of people know I kind of vented a little bit with this guitar as far as some of the unreliable issues I had. However, the last, I want to say 6 gigs that I've been doing have been 100% played on the Gibson. And I have no issues, absolutely none, 0. And I'm playing 3.5, 4 hour gigs. So it's like, okay, maybe I was wrong, and maybe I need to approach playing this guitar a little differently and give it a little TLC, you know what I mean? Not LTD, that's a division of ESP guitars. So I started thinking about this, and I started thinking, geez, outside of the strings and the picks, you know, guitar strings and picks, you know, even my Digitech products, they're made over in China. And Digitech is an American made company. But I started thinking about this, um, especially with the effect units. How many multi effect processors that we have, that we use, that are actually made here in the States? And see, the reason why I bring this up is that it is nice to see American made products, because that means a lot of our, Americans are actually working again. So, and I know it's pricey. And this is what I know what the deal is that some of these guitars, I mean, are very expensive, extremely expensive, and some of their quality issues have not really lived up to that price point. But the reason why I wanted to focus on Gibson right now in today's video is number one, Old Man Dan. I saw his video. He just got a Gibson Les Paul 60s model. I think called Ice Tea finish, Ice Tea burst. Beautiful guitar. This is what they call honey burst. Yeah, and this does have the flame. So when you turn it, obviously, and it pops. No pick guard. So you could tell it had a pick guard. You'd see a hole right here, and of course a hole right here. This came right from the factory, as is. This is a 2013 model. And this kind of guitar, for like what I've been playing a lot lately, the jazz fusion and some of the bluesier stuff, it just has a nice singing tone, and so that's why I've been using it a lot. And what is nice, if I do pop a string, it is so quick and easy to change the string on this. It's just like bam, bam, bam. This does have the locking tuners. I do use them, but I could do without them, because when I started playing, like a lot of you guys and gals out there, we didn't have all these locking stuff, and all it is one more thing to get in the way if you have to restring and you do want to use that particular guitar right in the middle of a show. It happens. So I like things to get done quick and easy, done fast, get it tuned up, we're good to go. What I do like about Gibson, and I never really thought about this until recently, and I mean, I knew where they're, when we were living up in Illinois, all we'd have to do is drive down to Nashville. Now we're down here in Florida, all we have to do is drive up to Nashville. And of course, I do remember when Gibson was out of the Kalamazoo, Michigan, area. So they were even closer when we were living in Illinois. So it's really one of the few American-made electric guitar companies that has an iconic name that is still in the made in USA. Now, I'm not talking about the Epiphone brand. I'm talking specifically about the Gibson brand. That if you wanted to take a trip and go through the factory tour, you can. At least I still think you can. The whole COVID thing's got everything all screwed up. But that's another topic for another time. But I mean, if you really think about it, I started thinking about this. Geez, any more issues I have with this guitar, I just go up to Gibson and present it to them and see if we could resolve the problem. Don't go in there with all guns blazing. We all have tempers, and I know there's a couple of times I kind of vented and I was pissed. You spend a lot of money, you shouldn't have any issues, right? But lately I've been having a change of heart on certain things, only because how I've noticed that I could go into Guitar Center, any of us can, and how many products that you could pull off the shelf that's actually made in USA. Is it a really big deal? For some of us, it is. We start thinking a little bit about people that need jobs, and people that have, a love, a passion for guitar building. Now, does this mean that Gibson does not need to step up their game? Yes, they do. I think we all could agree to that. But also in conjunction, why I wanted to do this video, I think there's been a lot of bashing on Gibson, and it's kind of a catch-22. People spending ridiculous amounts of money on these guitars, and they're not living up really to the price. If you do the price comparison, and I remember I sent Brad the guitarologist one of a comment on one of his videos, and I did say that on one of Gibson's, this, one of the older well, I guess this is when, what's his name, Mark Agnesi was had that video about, don't cover up the headstocks, and buy Gibson and we're gonna come after you, this, that, and the other. And I did leave a comment about, how about, instead of suing all these companies, going and opening up um, a competition for all these builders, guitar builders, and just put it on the internet and say, hey, listen, guys, Gibson is doing a competition. Would you like to participate in building, designing, or just designing? Actually, I said it was designers designing a guitar for us to build. And maybe we could open the doors to the guitar community and say, hey, wait a minute, there's a lot of people that not only do they play music, but they're artists, and there's some people that know how to do a CAD machine, and they're designers, and I think that would be really cool. Well, I really didn't get much of a response, but see, then again, I did not go on email. I just went on the comments, but I did call and I did leave a message, and any one of us could call Gibson. And if you want, you could say, hey, I would like to set up an appointment, if possible, to talk to the CEO. If he has the time, would it be possible? I say these things, my friends, and I'm gonna just kind of do a little sidetrack here. When I was in tech school, HVA trade school, one of my instructors, and I thought this guy was brilliant. And you want to make why I thought this guy was brilliant? He would learn from all of his mistakes, and boy, he made a lot of mistakes in the HVAC trade. He really he was telling us all about it. That's how he really learned what the hell was going on. And he would always tell us, when you're out there on the field working on a system, never ever be afraid to call the manufacturer and ask to talk to an engineer and tell them, hey, I'm working on this AC unit, or I'm working on this furnace, or I'm working on this air handler, and or if you're working with an Aprilaire whole house humidifier or Honeywell, whatever the case might be, call the manufacturer and ask to talk to. Don't be afraid, and tell them what the deal is. Do not be afraid. You would be surprised the willingness of some of these people who would want to help you, because here's the reality: you're reaching out to them. They're in business to make money off of these products, and even though it is a much different product than a guitar, much more of a need than a want, you would find a lot more of them willing to help you out because they want your business. And then you start building these relationships that you feel, hey, I could call, not to call to be a pest, but to call when you really have something legitimate to say. Likewise, what's wrong with calling the Gibson Guitar Company? What are they going to do? Hang up on you? I mean, really think about it. So I haven't done that again yet, but I'm thinking about, well, I would tell my wife and say, I'm going to give Gibson a call and just see if I could talk with them and just explain the issues I've had, but then also tell them that, would they be ever open to a time? I'm not going to say next week or anything like that, but if I ever wanted to go up to their factory and buy directly from them, if we ever wanted to, or bring the guitar up, maybe they could, work on it or whatever, just to see what they would say and kind of build up the relationship. Now, a lot of people know I'm really big on Ibanez guitars. Ibanez was my first really good guitar, so I'm not flip-flopping or doing the ass kissing, gimme. You don't have to give me anything, because this is another thing that I'm not really a big fan of, is the chasing to get endorsements. First of all, earn the endorsement. That's my belief. Second of all, you would be surprised how much more of if you want to call it power, you would have when you actually buy products, because now your money is supporting that company. So if you're always running around with the gimme, it does become a little bit annoying. I mean, and I'm not a beggar, so that's not really my thing. And I could care less if anyone gives me anything. I really, if they do, that's great. I mean, I appreciate it. But, I'm not going to make phone calls to go on the Gimme Gimme Jackwagon Crybaby, tour. That's not going to happen. I would just reach out because I just want to be sincere. And I started really thinking about this when I started seeing how badly Gibson has been bashed, and I've said a few things too. I'm not gonna lie about it. And there is legitimacy in some of the bashing, some of it. Okay. And then I remember mentioning about, Gibson's going after Dean guitars, and yeah, they should have done that a long time ago. I was 15 years old. I was what? I don't know. Was I a sophomore in high school? Junior? I can't read. I graduated when I was 17. Graduated in 1981. But I remember seeing the Guitar Player magazine with the blonde girl in a bikini holding the Dean Flying V. You know? And Gibson, maybe Gibson at the time did have a contract with Dean. And I do remember Dean was made, or at least one of their factories was in Chicago, Illinois, right off of Ravenswood. Or if that was one of their warehouses where they were storing them, because I had a friend of mine that was working over there. And so maybe there was something more to that. I got a funny feeling that this recent lawsuit chasing companies, and they, Gibson even went after Kiesel, which was Carvin. I don't really agree with that because their Flying V looks nothing like Gibson's Flying V. But I'm starting to understand something here. Um, Gibson has to do a lot of damage control, and they have to clean house, and they're working on it. And if they really are working on it, there's one thing I did mention in one of my videos. This was about a year or two ago, that I have not heard anybody talk about this. I haven't. But I did mention this. I said back in 2009 and 2011, the federal government invaded Gibson. And that did a lot of damage to the company. And God only knows if it caused them to lose a whole crap load of money. Hiring attorneys, you're going after the federal government, you know. Um, you're going to have to hire one hell of a strong attorney that would be willing to stick up for you because it's tough. Now, in a way, this video is kind of in the defense for Gibson. In a way, it is, and I'll explain again why. All those issues. Okay, now we know about the arrogance that they've had and the lack of quality control. That's one thing. And the lack of morale. When you have a CEO, and I'm not going to blame 100% on what's his name, Henry Janowitz. He made mistakes. I cannot say because I did not work at Gibson. Only the people that worked with Gibson and they had to deal with him, they could say that. Okay, but what I will say is that I saw him being interviewed when he mentioned about when the federal government came in and they raided the factory, and he got the phone call, and he goes in, and there's all his employees in different rooms sitting down and being drilled like he thought there was a drug bust going on or something. But no, it had to do with the woods. But he did have the okay in writing from those countries on that wood. And I think even Ted Nugent made a comment and sticking up for Gibson, saying, it's one thing that the Epiphone brand is outsourced, but it's almost like they were trying to force Gibson itself to be outsourced. And Gibson said, no, this is, we're an American-made company, and we just want to stay here and do our thing, and, we're not in violation of anything. So I think what happened was that brought down a lot of morale. It hurt the company. And then when you go through a financial, situation, that is also going to, hit you emotionally because now you got this big company, you're responsible for all these employees. So I think what happened was it just set this guy off. Now, did this guy, Henry Janowitz, from what I understand, he wanted to, make everything, picks, they do make picks, but, go into different companies, like buying out, why don't they just go and making diapers too, you know what I mean? So there are times when you try to go after too much You spread yourself so thin, and then you lose control because you got so many products, so many companies you're trying to buy out. You're just losing your mind because you cannot possibly buy everything and be able to have 100% quality control over everything. You'll never get any sleep. You know what I mean? There's only 24 hours in a day. So I think that in conjunction with him going off, if that's the case, ask an employee, that brought down the morale. And when morale's brought down, they're not going to care, but they'll just keep their job because number one, they're working for a guitar company that they love, and it's a job that they wanted to have. Plus, it's probably the only job that they have, and it might be the only skills that they have. So they need that job, so they hang on to it. So I mean, it's there's a lot of reasons for that. Now, one thing I will say is that when I start to see all of these videos of all of these guitars from all over the place of the world, and they're made great, they play great, that's wonderful. But very few of them will take a spin on these iconic companies. Now, Gibson and Fender has been around since the 50s, right? So they kind of set the stage for rock and roll. But over in Europe, I think you had Hagstrom guitars. I remember when we were over in Belgium, one of the music stores was called Sunburst Guitars in Brussels. I'm pretty sure, yeah, it was in Brussels. And nice little guitar shop, great place. And they had their Hagstrom guitars. You know, these people were making, I mean, before there was electric guitars, there was acoustic guitars. So, I mean, you know, and those countries are a lot more older than our country over here. So I'm not saying anything taken away from anybody, but what I am saying, I find it awfully ironic that I see these videos and, you know, Guitar Max and a few other people, and nothing bad to say about Guitar Max. Guitar Max, or was named Daryl Braun, you know, and they're great guys. So this is not on them. And they're just, you know, helping us all out, and I appreciate it because, you know, they do help us out. But every single guitar, virtually, it's either looking like a Les Paul, looking like an SG, or looking like a Telecaster. And I'm thinking to myself, I would have a lot more respect for these companies if they put their own spin on it and really start to open up. I forget what the company is called. I think Robert Baker has one of them. It's like Telly, but you know, instead of the curve here, it kind of flares out and it kind of flares in, and it has a really more rocked out, really cool shape. You know, I could kind of go for something like that because I think it's kind of cool. I mean, because there's only so many designs you could do with these. You know, a guitar is a guitar. So in a way, when I saw those videos, getting back to what's his name, Mark Agnesi from Gibson. At first, I thought he was being very rude and very, very arrogant. And he's being paid, so nothing on him. But see, now that I look at it and I realize I go to these stores, if I wanted to buy something that's, you know, I just happened to look on the back of the headstock, you know, made in USA, and I started just drifting off thinking, wow, I remember when we had a lot of electronic products made here in USA. And what happened, you know? Now, I'm not going to get political or anything like that. This is a guitar channel, so, but I understand. I do understand when I see people talking about it, okay? I'm just going to leave it at that because of the powers that have to be, you know. I'm a really big, well, put it this way, I'll just, when the time is right, there'll be more talking about it. But my point is, I remember, it just took me back to the day when I was a kid. And yeah, the Boss pedals were always more expensive than MXR, and more expensive, both of them were more expensive than DoD. So all we could afford was the DoD pedals, you know, and they worked great. But it's almost as if you start looking at yourself and you start saying, yeah, we're not good enough, so we're charging too much and we need to do this. Okay, for any of the issues like that, everyone knows what needs to be done. But you cannot constantly put yourself down or your hometown down or your home country down. You can't constantly do that. You know, other than having what I call a spoof on words or play on words, uh, the loser fest, it's just it's a joke. It's done as a joke. Other than that, it is extremely hard for you to sell yourself negatively to people who would like to hire you. If you are constantly putting yourself down. For instance, you play in a cover band, right? And let's say is a very high end corporate event, or corporate event. They're going to rent out a place. They're going to do the ticket sales. It's for an elite group of people, and so and so's son or daughter happened to see your band play, and they liked it, and they know that the people that are going to come to this event are basically liking the same kind of music, and money is already being spent. So now money that's being spent on entertainment is not a whole lot left to spend on entertainment. This is how it is. So the daughter or the son goes to dad or mom and says, hey, you guys are putting us on this event. You're looking for entertainment. I ran into these guys and I became friends with them, and we exchanged numbers and email address, and I followed them on YouTube and this, that, and the other. And hey, about maybe giving them a shot, because they're pretty good, and the guest that you could have at your event is closer to my age than your age, so I think it would be a good fit. I'll just let them know that in these type of events, just have a little bit more respect. If they say turn the volume down, just turn the volume down. Do not go in with a rock star attitude, because that will be the first and last time you ever do any of those type of gigs. Period. So the band goes to talk to mom and dad, and it's going to be very hard to, lock down on that gig if you say, yeah, well, we're just a cover band and we'll just do this, and well, we're just, you see what I mean? Right away, it looks like, okay, you're not as sure of yourself, because if you were, you would say, yeah, we'd be honored to play, and this is what we do. You'd be able to really look a person in the eye and say, hey, this is what you don't go on the brag fest, okay? If they want to expand on the conversation, then you could say, a good thing I would always suggest bands, whether you're a cover band, an original band, if you're playing a tin whistle, a ridge, whatever it is you're doing, whatever your act is, I would always suggest you sell yourself as, we give the best product for the best price, and we do honor our guests, or our clients that hire us. Because if you go in and say, we're going to go in and kick everybody's ass, dude, and we're the best in town, okay, you got to be careful, because maybe some of those people don't want to hear that type of language, and they're going to get a bad impression of you, and they're going to say, okay, give me your card and I'll call you, and then the phone never rings. That's the reality. But equally, if you go in with this attitude like, well, we're just this and we're just that, you see what happens? The morale is brought down. And I think that is what has happened with some of our American-made products. And it's really sad to see this, because right now, the way everything is on hold with COVID, we don't know if there's going to be a NAMM show. And maybe it'd be a good thing for all these companies to restructure and rethink things out, because honestly, this is what I see a problem with having NAMM twice a year, and then if it goes on, plus having all these other guitar shows. I love guitar music, I love it, but if you're gonna flood it, you're gonna put yourself in a position that you're gonna always, twice a year, try to have to outdo yourself all the time. And at some point, you're gonna hit a brick wall, and all you're gonna do is make the same thing, but just in different colors, So it's, again, it's a catch-22, and I could be wrong, but that's how I see that. But it'd be nice to see more and more products coming out, made in USA, and at a much more affordable price. I think one thing I did see was JHS pedals coming out with a line. I think they call it the 3 Series. They're, your standard overdrive distortion. And I think he's got a fuzz, chorus delay, and phase shifter. and they're all the same color. They're in a white housing with the foot switch in the middle, and they just have three knobs. I think the overdrive has three knobs and a little switch, but the tone knob, it's more of a, but I think he calls it body, so it's more like a voicing. So as you're turning it, you're getting all these different types of frequencies. But he's a USA made company, and I think so is MXR and things of that nature. So I don't know what anyone thinks out there about what I'm talking about with this. Does it bother you? Hey, Zach Thong, what is happening? Thanks for tuning in. New guitar, Dave. DR1 USA made. Yeah, my third USA made guitar. Oh, I will. I definitely will, Sean. I'll definitely be checking that out. And again, see, this video is not to put down all those other companies, because I'm telling you, there's some great guitar builders out there. I just wish they could all move over here and build. I mean, it'd be nice, because then you can actually drive to where they would set up shop. It just kind of struck me as that. And one thing I know for a fact, at least where we're at, we instead of driving from Illinois down to Nashville, we drive from Florida up to Nashville. We could actually go into the factory. Matter of fact, when we were still living up in the Chicagoland area, Sonia, what's happening? Good seeing you. But yeah, I really appreciate everyone tuning in. Tim Fergal, what's happening, brother? What is happening? In 2011, I went to a guitar shop to buy a Gibson Les Paul Tribute, and it felt so bad I bought it for. Now, yeah, see, Buck Lester, I agree with what you're saying, because I remember when I know what Gibson you're talking about, $8.99. It was probably Les Paul Tribute. I do remember in 2004 when Guitar Center opened up in Naperville, Illinois. That's where we bought the drum machine that I had on my a couple of days ago when I was doing the live stream with the Boss DR880 and the Boss RC20 XL pedal. So we got those two items. But excuse me, but we did look at Gibson Les Paul Faded model. And that was saying, if you want to grab that, So she was kind of giving me the okay. I always do everything with that because we're married and it's our money. It's not just mine, it's ours. She's a big part of my life, it's ours. This is not just mine, it's ours. So just want to make that clear. But I picked up that Les Paul, and Buck Lester, the first thing I noticed, and it was kind of embarrassing, as soon as I went like this, both top and bottom, the frets, it was like cutting up my hand. It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. And again, why was it allowed to leave shop? What happened with quality control? You know what I mean? So this is another thing what happens with morale. Morale goes down, tempers flare, morale's down, twice the government raids, all these companies coming out, it's like the ship is sinking on an iconic brand, and it's like they're in debt. They made lots of mistakes that they need to own up to. If they are owning up to it, that's great. I've always said, when someone does you wrong, that's bad. But when they want to make a wrong right, when they want to make right what they did wrong, in other words, there is that shot of redemption, you know what I mean? And if you could tell when people are being sincere, because then they try to change their ways and they try. So is it a situation where Gibson will try to change its ways from the days of being arrogant and whatever to now, hey, let's really fix this company, because it really is one of the last American-made, 100% American-made companies. And what I mean by that is the Epiphone brand is outsourced. I have an Epiphone Les Paul. I love the guitar. It's great. I think they're wonderful, wonderful builders that build it. Great. But the Gibson brand is made in America. Whereas if you buy a Fender, you could have Fender made in Mexico and Fender made in USA. See, you don't have that with Gibson. And Gibson's been getting really bashed, like badly, very, very badly. And speaking of Brad the guitarologist, just on a side note, I love the way he he starts off some of his videos. You know, his hair is all messed up, his eyes are bugged out. He's got the big whiteboard with the circle of fits. Oh, he figured out the secret code. Oh, you know, I love that because, you know, it's true when some of us look at music theory, we see all this wacky stuff. Like we don't understand this. Explain it where we can understand. You know what I mean? then we'll buy your product. But if we don't understand it, you know, I'm just doing a little side only because I mentioned Brad the Guitarologist, and I like his channel. I like his channel. He's a straight shooter, and you know what else I like? Yeah, there's Heritage too. That's right, Music Therapy. Yeah, the old Gibson crew and factor. You are 100% correct, my friend. 100%. That is the old Gibson builders and the factory up in Kalamazoo. Heritage Guitars. Now, before I forget, because I will forget, another channel is Mr. Zipfix Guitars. I like Zipfix. Dude, he's a smart guy, too. He really is. Some people don't agree with him, but he's a straight shooter, no BS. That's what I like. Okay. And of course, people are more than welcome to disagree with what I'm saying here. Absolutely. You know, I have absolutely no problems with that, you know. I don't know everything. I just say, yeah, Lev Al, Sonia, they do have Gibson tone polish. Yeah, Scott Grove did a great video on how to apply it to the guitar. Yeah, you know what? You're right. Now, and Sonia, I think I know where you might be going with this. Okay, they have a lot of products, and they're trying to push their product. And what is in the ingredients of the Gibson product that is not in the Martin guitar polish? Or a GHS, because I use the fast frets, you know? When it comes to certain chemicals, they have to follow the same protocol. They could come up with their own ingredients, but again, they all have to go through Underwriters Laboratory because you get people hurt. You think you got problems financially now. Wait when someone gets hurt from using your product and you knew about it and you did nothing about it. And sadly, if there's a fatality, you gotta go down. Especially if that happens to be any relative or niece, nephew, whoever, from someone that is an extreme high-end attorney. Boy, I'm gonna tell you right now, be very careful, because that's when the ship will be the Titanic. You know. Janice Lala, what is happening, Janice? Janice, thank you for sending us the picture of that drum machine. It looks, I could be wrong, it looks like it's a Yamaha or equivalent to a Yamaha. It is a nice setup, but it's too bad it does not have that foot switch. And you know what? Even if you could find on eBay, even the smaller Beat Buddy, I think the smaller one has less functions, but it's still going to have a lot more than what you have right now. But or if you don't want to spend your money, even if you have the money and you don't want to spend the money, you find a way that you become more and more creative with just using that. That's great, because really it comes down to the creativity of it. How creative are you? Sometimes it is the things that are disadvantages that makes us on the unique side and get us noticed, because no one else maybe would want to use it, or they don't like it, but you find a way of using it, and because you use it to such a degree where it becomes a signature sound, then yeah, it could be more damaged by going high tech than staying low tech. And I don't mean that as an insult, because I do remember reading when I used to get these magazines, Tape Op magazine. They would have these articles in there, and it looked like there was a lot of people rediscovering the cassette 4-track. I still have a couple of mine cassette 4-track. I think I got 3 of them. And the lo-fi of recording and the uniqueness and trying to make that sound with your musical sound. So everything as a whole has its uniqueness. See, if everybody is doing the same thing and everyone's sounding the same and everything is stellar, 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 it's not unique anymore. That's one thing I do miss about the good old days with analog. Everyone had their own uniqueness. That's what stood out. Now it's the technology stands out and whatever you could do with it. And I'm not knocking it, but my point is that I think what has happened when technology raises the bar and wants to look down on everything else, that's where they make the mistake, is when they look down on everything else. And I understand they're trying to sell a product. It's kind of like some of these people with these recording studios. If they're really that great of an engineer and they have all this high-end gear, they should be able to make the crappiest crate amp or the crappiest line 6 amp that's half broken with dirty pots. I mean, you want to spray the pots. Maybe I shouldn't say that. But what they call crap, I honestly, God, I wish I could take these guys in a time capsule back when I started, and probably a lot of you too. When we had Checkmate guitars, Tedesco Del Rey, Sears Roebuck, you have, I mean, this stuff, they would crap their drawers if they had to pick up any of this to try to play it. Then they would say, oh, maybe those Squire Strats aren't that bad after all. Or, the Mitchell guitars, whatever that they're knocking, they will definitely have a change of heart if I had to take them back in time and show them what I had to play when I started. And I had no choice. There wasn't this luxury. That's the thing. I think that's the thing that's missing from a lot of people. There's too much of the luxury, and when you take the luxury away, that's going to kind of like clear the playing field to see who's really in the game and who will jump out because it becomes too hard, And I'm not trying to, take pot shots at anybody, but this really is to those people that get that arrogancy, and they want to tell you that or make you feel like you're insignificant because you can't afford this, that, and the other. That's wrong to do. Music theory. I know some have different. Yeah. Scott Groves. Yeah, Scott. He's a really good guy. Crap guitar. What's happening, old man Dan? Love that Les Paul you got, man. And and you're playing too, brother. Absolutely great playing. Maybe Sunday I'll do this if I can. I'm kind of also doing a test to see how my software protection is doing on this, so it doesn't buffer and I come out, looking like Max Headroom, if you remember that from the 80s, stuttering and fluttering and everything else because the connection went bad. But I'm going to see if I can do a secret comparison. I'll record it audio and you kind of guess who the guitar player is. And I'll just, I'll give a few names. And of course, I'm going to shoot for the popular, well-known guitar players. But will it actually be the well-known guitar player? We'll have to see. And the reason why I want to do this, it's not just XYZ guitar player. It's also their personality. But when it comes down to the actual ability to play, if you don't see the person, you don't know what they look like, you don't know who they are, but if you hear that person playing and you don't know who they are, and the playing is like, wow, that sounds nice, that's really cool. And then you find out that it's someone that's on YouTube that you can't stand, then all of a sudden, here's the reality. Whether you like them, whether you don't like them, you cannot deny that you know that they're good. And this is what I mean. So give them that opportunity, so let their talent speak for itself, But I'll let you know. But yeah, old man Dan, that was really, really nice guitar, man. I know you have the Les Paul Traditional, which you pick them up, man. Those are Les Pauls like back in the 70s, man. Holy crap. This is a little bit more weight relieved, but this does come in about 9 pounds because I weighed it. So I really honestly was not a big fan when I heard that they were chambering these guitars. I'm like, that's not a Les Paul, you know. But now I do understand because some of my students they would have back problems. You know, some of them were older and retired, and they're like, man, I can't play those heavy guitars anymore. It just hurts my back. We're all getting older, you know. So you could tell someone, oh, come on, you wimp, man it up. No, they're like maybe in their late 60s, early 70s. Someday, if we're lucky, we're going to be in our late 60s and early 70s. You know, time doesn't stop. So it makes you kind of think a little bit differently on that. Yeah, Sonia, there is a My Les Paul forum on the web that has a lot of info. They even have an Epiphone section. Check it out. Yeah, I will check it out. Now, maybe I need to type that in, because you know what? Yeah, Buck Lester. Yeah, I'm very, very computer illiterate, and there's a lot of things that have happened with me getting on the internet because I don't understand. That opens up viruses, and boy, did it extremely pissed me off. The poor guy at Verizon, and I didn't go full fledged, but I could see the expression on his face. He couldn't wait to get me out of the store because when my buttons get pushed, it's not calling on the phone or email, it's going down in person, face to face. And boom, here it is. You know what I mean? And if I'm proven wrong, I'll apologize. Sometimes you got to give it a little ass kicking when you know things are going wrong and there's no instructions on it. So, but I'm not going to get into that. But that's why. So, I'll definitely have to check that out. Headley Scott, what is happening, man? Thank you so much for tuning in. Pooh Ninja, what's happening, brother? Licks for lunch. Blues, yeah. Now, old man Dan, I do the same thing with my volumes. When I have the pickup selector for neck and bridge, and I'm not doing any coil tapping, you can't really notice it too much on the Fender amp because it's tubes, you know. Mostly on my Digitech because it's digital. Um, I'll roll down, I'll roll down my bridge pickup volume to get more of the neck. But now on the neck, I'll roll down a little bit of my tone. Especially if I'm doing whole notes, because that's when it just like really rings out. And sometimes a little bit of the hissy or very high treble from the digital, you know. And I'll tell you what, the Digitech will do it a lot more than some of the other products, but I've also noticed it when I plugged into the Helix, whether it was the Helix, the Headrush, or the Boss. And now I think the Boss might do a little bit more, analog, and I could be wrong, and it could be the way that powered speaker was set up, but I did notice it. And when I plug into an actual, let's say a Marshall, and when I would bend the string, it wouldn't do that. And it's, here's the Helix Plexi, and here's the Marshall Plexi, the little 20 watt. And I'll try to get the tone set exactly the same, and that's when I would notice it. So, it's just the nature of them, that's all. But I should definitely check that out. Dave, I'm 57 today. Hey! Happy birthday, my friend. Welcome to the 57 Club. Was it 684 months old? Because I turned 57 last month. Happy birthday, brother. Happy birthday. I could do it better here. So that's why, honestly, guys, when I have to prepare for shows, that's when I hit it hard. But normally, I don't even listen to the covers that I play. I really don't like playing cover music. I'll do my spin on it, and I'm not knocking for people to do, because I understand, and I will put up a video that will be more in favor for the cover bands, because I will explain, all that they go through, having a full-time, working full-time, and Friday and Saturday, mostly Friday they're playing, or up, already like 18 hours and that, and it just wears you down, But from a creative point of view, man, nope. And when I hear people say to me, "Well, Dave, how are you going to teach if you don't use covers as an example?" Just use chord progressions. When I hear people use that excuse that they cannot teach if they don't use a cover song, I'm not knocking them. They're probably good teachers in their own right, but I don't call them the full circle of a good teacher, because a good teacher will be able to say, "Okay, let's take a chord progression and mix it up a little bit." Boom, there you go. That's how you write your songs, because that's what you're going to have to do. Because you see, you go in a recording studio, unless you get the okay to record covers, you go in a recording studio to record an album, or, a few tracks for original music. Otherwise, how are you going to sell all this stuff? I remember seeing back up in Illinois, seeing a Journey tribute band at a big festival. They were selling CDs of them playing Journey songs. Now, you know what the really bad thing with this was? The keyboard player, Greg Rollins, who used to be in Santana, who was one of the founding members of Journey. And this is quite a few years back. He had the Greg Rollins band. He was out touring. And it's probably because of his tour schedule, he opened up for a Journey tribute band. Now, what do you think would be happening as he's sitting in the, maybe he's sitting in the tour bus, and he sees a Journey tribute band, and they're selling CDs of our music that we own the rights to. And these people are making money off, you see what I mean? You got to be very careful, man. Because what some of these people will do, they'll let you sell it until you get a whole volume of CDs sold, and then wow, here comes all the money coming in, and boom, here he comes with the attorney to take you down. Boom, there goes all your money. You see what I mean? Be very careful. And I'm not saying that's what happened, but I could see that happening. You know what I mean? So didn't mean to go on a little tangent there, but yeah, hey Pooh Ninja, it's Headley Scott. But yeah, Headley Scott, again, happy birthday, man. Yep. And again, yeah, Pooh Ninja, yeah, a lot of the bluesy. I just like the way this thing sounds, And I play a lot of what minor and major seventh chord progressions. So. Like what Old Man Dan was playing, which is kind of a little bit similar to the song Spooky, but I like what Old Man Dan's chord progressions were. I think it's a E minor 7 to a D major 7, C major 7, then B minor 7. Simple to come up with melodies. I'm not going to take this live stream too far, because I'm going to do on another live stream. loop a couple of chord progressions like that, and then just come up with ways that how I come up with melodies. And that when I play, I don't think Dorian, I don't think Phrygian. I mean, I know I got minor seven, major seven in this situation, or again, major seven, minor seven, and I don't think of the third degree as a flatter third. I never think like that. And even though I could look at it, so let's say I'm going to do E minor seven, going to D major seven. I'm going to show you real quick. Here I got G, a pull off to F sharp or G flat, or I could just do a G flat, E back to G flat, then back to G. I don't even think like that. I try to think of a mood that each note, but I could see exactly how I could come up with melodies just by looking where my fingers are at. And I'm not saying it's not good to do, music theory. It does serve its purpose, but this will be for another video. And I'm not gonna put down music theory, right? I know sometimes it does sound like that. It's just when the people try to look at you like because you don't know music theory too well, that you're stupid, you can't teach, you can't this, you can't that. But the funny thing would be when those people would try that on me, I'd be the one teaching, I'd be the one out there playing, and they'd be sitting in a chair talking, trying to mock what I'm doing. And they can, but they're so smart, how come they're not out there doing it? You know what I mean? So, of course, they don't like when I say that. Yeah, Hebrew been, yeah, I have not had a whole, hey, Merle, what's happening, brother? I have not had a whole lot of being on so much on YouTube. I mean, I put my like live chats and some of my live shows because I've just been very, very busy. But there's like another reason, and I'll get into it. Randy Tripp, what's happening? What is happening, man? I really appreciate people tuning in. It's great. You guys are awesome. Yeah, it's what happened to Carvin Audio. Yeah, you know what, Prue Ninja, we still have. It's called a StageMate Carvin portable PA speaker. But I had a Carvin guitar. It was a DC 400, the double cutaway. That guitar was fantastic, man. I don't know why I traded it. That Carvin products were always great. And but yeah, what happened with Carvin is that another great American USA made company, like Peavey. Peavey is always, and I think Peavey right now is still going strong. Maybe they're just kind of, you know, put the brakes on and evaluating everything because this whole COVID thing has just screwed everything up in the music industry. Very few of us are still gigging, thank God. But for the ones who can't, man, my heart bleeds for them because I know they want to get out there and play, and it's like they're shut down. They can't this, they can't that, and man, it's just so sad to see. I don't care if it's a person that's a so-called a competitor. I don't really try to look at it that way, or someone who doesn't like me or whatever. I don't want to see them fail at anything or be, go out of business or anything like that. It's very heartbreaking. It's one thing if there's someone that you don't agree with, but it's another thing when you say, I hope you go out of business. Now, you'd never want to say that, man, because a lot of people who say that, they don't know what they're hoping for. It is horrific. But yeah, but see, it's good that they reopened up as Kiesel, and actually, that was their original name that they were to go under. I don't know if you remember Pooh Ninja, and I can't remember, I think it was, yeah, Pooh Ninja that said about with Carvin. Or maybe it was Headley Scott. But I remember getting the Carvin catalog when it was, 8.5 by 11. You look at this thing and you dream, right? Buy direct. Think about it. Before the internet, it's like them and S&H green stamps, buy direct. And when they would ship the product, it was immaculate. Very seldom did you have problems. There was great customer service. Let's see here. Yeah, we're finally getting some rain here. Ah, yeah, we had enough rain. It's supposed to drop a little bit. Yep, I took the Jazzy picker off the top. Yeah, yeah, was in Shreveport yesterday. Ah, so is Jim Guidry. He's in Shreveport, Louisiana. Jim's a great guy, great guitar player. You know, so is Joe Winch. I'm hearing something. I would probably, we got these birds on the other side of the wall here outside, and they peck at everything. Uh, hey James, what is happening, my friend? Oh, you bought the Ibanez RGA. How do you like it? I love those guitars, man. They're so reliable, so cool. I One of my shows, I flipped it and it fell. It picked up. It was still in tune. Hardly any, like very little scratch at all. I mean, built like a tank. I won't flip the Les Paul. That I won't do. No. Yeah, the East Coast seems to get enough rain. Yeah. Yeah, you need a few weeks of rain yeah. Six String Brian, what is happening? Hey, I hope you're doing great too, my friend. Hope everything is all well with you, man. I know it's been a while since I've been on a lot of people's channels, but the way my work schedule is, and I'm still gigging, and I'm gigging through the rest of the year, which is only a few more weeks, and then we're going to renegotiate. Because our governor down here in Florida, he really does not want to do any shutdowns. He really doesn't. And Florida, besides it being known as God's waiting room, and gators and snakes and hurricanes, lightnings, weirdest lightning storms I've ever seen, in car accidents. It is a really big tourist state, and it's like Captain Quint in Jaws telling the mayor, you better ante up. I'll get rid of this bird for you, but boy, I'll tell you what, you're gonna be on welfare if you don't take care of this shark problem. When you live in a state that is high tourist attraction, and you have these ridiculous issues, it hurts business. It hurts business real bad. And I'll tell you what, there's some of these clubs they won't be able to reopen, and that breaks my heart. And there are some of these people that maybe I don't see eye to eye with, but I would never wish them to go out of business, because that is, yeah, that's very, very tough, very, very tough. But anyways, I hope everything is all well with you, Brian. And yeah, Old Man Dan with his Les Paul, and kind of, I've been using this virtually, and I want to say virtually, literally at every last gig I've done for the last 6 gigs. One of them I did use the Breedlove acoustic, but it was the Les Paul exclusively. I didn't even bring the acoustic because I had to wait for the strings for my Cordoba, my nylon strings. They were on back order, and I just had to wait, because no one plays classical guitar too much. Yeah. Yeah, Brian, at 16, Brian, I gotta open up when I get some time, and I will be getting some time actually next week. Sometime. Because I know we're having some windows redone and some of our floors redone here. So, and I do have a Christmas Eve party to play at, plus Saturday's gig, plus the day after Christmas, that gig, you know. But yeah, I definitely got to get on your guys' channels again. I really do apologize. Um, just that I have been having all these little bit of problems with my connection down here, and that's a totally different subject for another time. Alrighty, yeah, it doesn't look like. Let's see. After I set it up, it plays better than the Gibson Nines on. Yeah, yeah. 2 years ago, Epi Alpal Custom Alpine White. Yeah, got dropped in my lap. It was beat up and not owned by a musician. Ah, yes. After I set it up, plays better than the. Yeah, I could just imagine Headley Scott. You know, there's a pawn shop down here. And this is about a year ago in a town called Lehigh Acres. The pawn shop, it was not, we got Larry's Pawns all over it. It was Capital Pawn Shop, I believe. For whatever reason, I had some downtime. I just wanted to go in just to see what they had. They had a beat up Epiphone Les Paul Custom they were selling. I don't know, maybe it was $164 or something like that, all beat up, three strings on it. And I thought, I didn't pull the trigger on it, but I thought if I would have pulled the trigger on it, I'd fix that sucker up and either sell it at a very, 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 very fair price or give it to somebody, or if I wanted to keep it. But it would need a little bit of LTC or TLC, LTD. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, good for you, man. Because yeah, you fixed them up and they play better. It doesn't look good on stage. Yeah, you know, Janice Salala, white guitars when you play them on stage, they'll reflect the lights. But now here is the catch 22. When you play outdoor gigs and after a while the sun fades it, it starts to turn into that yellow, and it can still look cool under the lights. But some guitars, the Fender Strats are kind of cool with that off yellow and that. Some of the, but to me, when you're looking at a Les Paul Custom, whether it's a Gibson or an Epiphone, there's something with that Alpine white and the black, you know what I mean, and the gold, it just stands out. See, it's like the gold hardware. After a while, with your hand here, it wears out because it's gold plated, and here it starts to get real nasty looking. But either it looks cool or it doesn't. What's cool if it starts to wear out, it looks like it's worn. You know what I mean? So that now it becomes relic. So now it's even worth more than what it was when it was brand new, right? Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Yeah, in between working and listening and watching the chat. Yeah, I hear you. Music theory. Yep, we're all doing it. Now I know what's really interesting with Six String Brian, and I think you're still working for the colleges and that. 16 Brian has probably one of the really coolest looking studios that I've seen for home studios, and the way you got that dual camera shot, um, and you got a really unique announcer's voice. 16 Brian could go and be an announcer for any company, and that's a really cool gift to have, man. That is a really cool gift, and plus he's a great guitar player, you know. And it's real interesting, you know. You six Brian, you and Guitar Hack, you're big on the Gibson Les Pauls, and I'll tell you what I'm starting to realize more and more. It helps our USA made companies stay in business and keep people working. It really does, you know. So and any of the other USA made companies. And I do know that you guys up in Canada have like this ridiculous taxes you gotta pay when you buy the products. It's like it's crazy. But I think I just wanted to say thanks for doing that for for our USA made companies because it does help them out. And like with the Golden guitars who are built up in Canada, I'm pretty sure they're still built up in Canada. Them and oh, what's the other one? Starts with an S. How could I forget? Great acoustic. It's Siegel guitars. Those still straight acoustics. You know, they got a nice wide neck, so if you finger pick, man, they're like one of the most comfortable guitars to play. Canadian made, and there is something to say with some of the Canadian woods up there that, man, the tone you get is it's great. It really is incredible. So, okay, let's see. Before I wrap this up, guys, I really appreciate everyone staying, and I really appreciate a last minute notice. I thought I sent the post up earlier, but it didn't go through. You know, my luck. Let's see. Music theory last says my first guitar was a no name start style guitar with that was so heavy. It's yeah. Mine was a Checkmate guitar. And you want to talk about cheap? Oh my God. And then I graduated to a Magnum, the company Magnum, whoever owned a Magnum Les Paul copy, bolt on neck, black custom, hollowed in between with feedback like crazy. Then I got my Ibanez Artist guitar, and that was a beautiful guitar. I mean, I wish I never got rid of it. But how I got the Ibanez, I was trying to buy a Les Paul, but there was no way I could afford. Back then, they were going for $2,000, you know. So it was like, okay. Although I did have a chance, like in 1981, was it? After I already bought my Ibanez Artist, a black Gibson Les Paul Standard. It could have been used, but it looked like it was in mint condition for $500 at this place called Wooden Music Company in Chicago. Of course, I passed on it. Ain't no stages in my future. Yeah, Headley Scott. You know what? There might not be any stages in a lot of other people's future, man. It's pretty sad. This could alter this whole industry. I mean, I'm not saying people will not go back out to play live, but it has altered things. And the places that used to have a stage, now they have a platform and they stick you in a corner. They don't want to hire a whole band, and you know, it's really strange. Of course, YouTube becomes the stage. Yeah, the action was like so bad. My end was, and I was, yeah, such a newbie. Didn't have money. Was lucky to have a Fender Twin. I initially, but didn't make that distortion sound I want. Oh yeah, had no clue what to do. Yeah, that's the thing with the Twins. The Fender Twins, they have their own unique sound, but to get that bottom punchy sound, yeah, put you in. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I had the original Ibanez Tube Scream when it came out, and it was, just like you see the reissue with the square button, the TS-808, but it was a thinner size, and you had to take all 4 screws off to change the battery. Paid $35 for it. I'd run into my Crate 1R, and that's when Crate was shaped like a crate box. And I was all new to everything, and then I had that, and then my Crybaby wah pedal that I still have, and I didn't know when I had my Fender Twin, I was going through all these different pedals, not really knowing it. That's how it is. You don't know. Gibson seems to have more dynamics with the volume rolled. Yes, Old Man Dan, I agree with you. Definitely. When you roll down the volumes on these, they have there's something there, more dynamics you could actually play with, which is something that you don't really hear too many people do, and a lot of the other stuff doesn't really want. Back to my drum machines. A pedal would work on stage, but not what I have. Yeah, James Lala talking about the drum machine. What you could do is, if you have any type of a digital recorder, just record a track, or even a loop pedal that takes SD cards. Let's see. I was in the kitchen making third espresso. I hear you, man. Yeah, I turned 55 on the 10th. Hey, well, happy birthday, Dan. We're all the 50 plus club. You know what I mean? I think it's a great. I personally, Deb and I were talking. This is a great time to be, because you know what's nice about being our age that we are in our 50s. We don't have to impress anybody. We don't have to chase anybody. A lot of the ladies in there for they don't have to put all this stuff on. You could actually live a free life. You don't realize it when you're young, because you're trying to trying to impress each other. But as you get older, you start to I think this is where you really start to enjoy life in general. Just walking down the road, you enjoy it. You know what I mean? It's great. It's gray, cold, and windy outside. Oh yeah. 513 for the course. How hard is that? Yeah, you know what, Pro Ninja? I don't even think in terms of that, but I'll tell you what, you're right. You're right. Because you're just talking degrees, right? So let's say C major scale. C, D, E, F, G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. C would be, and then if you go to E. So if you were to add a little distortion, let's see what happens. Let's just see what happens. I'm going to just totally improvise it. I might screw it all up, but hey. Or 5. I thought also you said it backwards too. Yeah, 5, 1, 3. I'm just using the example of C major. And I'm just taking, and really it's root note. C, D, E, F, G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 is C, 3 is E, and 5 is G. So we have G, E, I went to F, yeah. So we have G, E, and, C, E, and G. It's how creative you get with it, you know? So, anyways, my friends, I think I've gone over a little bit too long. Well then, yeah. Oh God, see, look how far back in my chat. This always happens to me, man. What is happening, man? I really appreciate for people tuning in. I really do, and I'm glad that this kind of works out for everybody. Let's see, I might. Would do the stages. Oh, let's see. Hire gun, but no rock star. Yeah, Headley Scott. When I make the comment that the stars are gone from my eyes, it's not the ambition to play. It's fun to play, and when you get on stage, you kind of make it like it's the Coliseum, and you kind of put on the childhood excitement that made you want to play. However, when you get off stage, when you're done playing, you're just a regular human being like everybody is. Dan Palmer, what's happening? I really appreciate it so much, Dan. Thank you so much, brother. And when I make the comment that the stars are gone from my eyes, it means that I'm not really impressed, especially when people use that as leverage to try to, persuade you to go this way or that way and leave you hanging and whatever, because in the long run, it comes down to when Deb said this, when my wife said it comes down to money. You could buy your way into this industry, and there might be some of those people that say, "Oh, Dave, no, you can't," because they'll turn your way. I guarantee, if one, and I'm talking about, let's say you want to go to one of the biggest places that you like to play, and I'm talking about if you got like you hit the big one, the lottery, the big one, and you want to start throwing some of that money around that you could afford to do, and you want to play those places, and Big Shot Stage wants to say, no, I don't need your money. Okay, fine. And you go down the road, and he can watch you and your money go down the road, because the bottom line is this: everybody has bills to pay. Everyone needs money to pay those bills. And when you go back in the days when we would go to concerts and we go to these big arenas, that's what they are. It's a building that sits vacant. It will rent out for Disney's World of Ice. It'll rent out a hockey game, a basketball game, a rodeo. It's a building that sits there for events. And when you figure out that all it takes is you to take charge, and you got money and you want to throw on your own show, you don't have to worry about doing covers. You want to do your thing, and yeah, you take a chance. Yeah, you might be a win or lose, and that's another story, to talk about in depth for people who want to do that. But there's one thing: everything is a gamble. But the one thing that will not be a gamble is, even if you rent out something like this, no matter how big or small, you put on your show, and one person comes out, and you might be financially losing that. But if you put on one hell of a show, and you feel, okay, I'll take the loss, I could afford to take this loss, I'm okay. But you put on one hell of a show, I guarantee that person is going to say, I was the only one there. I felt sorry for the guy or the gal playing, whatever the case, but they put on one hell of a show. and I go to see some of these other people play, and they look like they don't even. This guy, he's got more excitement in his show than all these people. They're like this, looking down. I'm not saying that doesn't happen with me too, but they look down and look like they're not. They don't even want to be there. They look at the set list. Geez, I got how many songs to play before I'm done? That means they don't like what they're doing, and people can pick up on this, you know. So I know what you mean when about the stars, you know, the being stars going from the eyes. So you see what I mean? I get on a subject and blah 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 goes on. I apologize. I just I don't know. I just try to share as much and try to encourage people. You know, things could be tough, but there's always that extra little bit rainbow at the end of the pot of gold at the rainbow. It depends on how you look at it, you know. Anyways, my friends, I really appreciate everyone tuning in. Um, yeah, plus the sound of it. Then there's oh yeah, the insured. Yeah, Headley Scott. Oh yeah, we have insurance. When we used to play the casinos, we had to make sure we had insurance, and it would have to cover a minimum $1 million. That's not what we would pay, of course, but you know, it would have to pay for that because when you're playing in these casinos and these people, they do they'll people are people. If they think they could get away with getting us something for free, they'll look for it. And if you have a cord or something, they'll walk by and they'll trip and fall, and you know they'll break a fingernail. But then by the time you go to court, they're in a body brace. You know what I mean? It gets exaggerated because they're looking for money. So yeah, you always have to have insurance to cover your ass. You know, there's no doubt about it. And if you do festivals, if you host a festival, you got to make sure you have enough money to pay EMTs, you know, firefighters and paramedics, and you got to make sure you have the insurance for and the permit for the land, you know, the porta potty service and that. There's a lot that's to it, but it's not impossible. Just do the research. Never let someone tell you you don't understand, you can't do it. No, you could call this person, they're not going to answer. As soon as someone tells you that, you know what that's a sign of? That's a sign of a person seeing that you are waking up, or you've been awake all along. You just happen to run into some money and you figured out the name of the game. Now you're going to give that guy a run for the money, and he doesn't want competition. So the first tactic is used is to discourage you and say, oh, no, no, see, you don't understand. There's more to it than that. Go ahead and make the phone calls. Watch and see what happens. You got someone sitting on some property that's been sitting for years, and they need to make money, and you want to host something. As long as you know you get the okay there, you go to the city hall. Maybe you need to get a permit, a performance permit, safety permit. You know, talk with the local fire chief that's in that area, and say, listen, who do I contact? Who do I talk to about hiring some paramedics, because I'm going to put on a festival, and my requirements are, if I'm going to have X amount of people, I have to have some sort of safety. At least back up in Illinois, it was like that. It could be different. Check out you know where you are locally, but do not be afraid to make phone calls. They're not dumb questions. It's those people that make you feel like it's a dumb question because you're going to give them a run for the money. And some of those people, I'm telling you, they don't like competition. And when they see that you're figuring out what's going on, they hit a panic button. They come up with all kind of feeble excuses to tell you why you can't do this, that, and the other, because you know they're hitting the panic button. Anyways, my friends, I've been blabbing for a little bit too long. Yeah, it helps to wear pants until it's okay now. Quentin James, what's happening, Quentin? Yeah, Quentin, I know you got that Digitech, and I know there could be issues with that Digitech. I use the exact same one. But I will tell you this: it is really the only unit that has that real strong bass. Now, I do know Electro Harmonics has the bass 9 if you had to do live looping. So these are be on future videos. I'll get more and more in depth to. I think one of them I will definitely talk about is getting gigs and how you go about it. One way of it. It's not going to be the only way, you know, because there's a lot of you. I know Quentin, you used to play out too, you know, so you know the name of the game. But it's real interesting. Did all my shopping this Oh, Janice, you're brilliant. You are absolutely brilliant. I like the one commercial. They used to, I don't know, the guy, I guess what, he's in line over at Dunkin' Donuts, and they're talking about, oh, I gotta go shopping, I got this, that, and the other. And he sees the whole gift thing of coffee. So he grabs the whole thing and he says, done. His shopping is done right there because he's just gonna give people coffee. You give people gift cards, coffee or teas, and you basically got all bases covered. Because you know what? Even guitar players, Truth Guitar Method, what's happening? Hey there, just saying hi, finishing lunch and getting back to teaching here. Great, good for you. Hey man, I'm real happy for you. Joel, son of Caesar, good for you, man. Keep going at it, man. You know? It's a blessing when you can make money with music. It's a blessing when you can make money at all, right? So, anyways, my friends, I really appreciate you tuning in. I we'll see about going live on Sunday. I do have a gig Saturday. I'll see if I could get that recorded, but we'll see what happens. But I will post everything up. Yeah, right, Dale. Or yeah, Boomer Bass. What's happening? I'm great for that, right? Way to multitask. Multitasking when we're yeah, I hear you, man. Take care, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. You guys totally rock. We love you all. Until next video, you stay safe, you stay true, rock on, and God bless you, my friends. Take care.